matchup between the Bears and Lions next on the Unbearable Sports Podcast.
Yeah, she's got some nice long
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. We are brought to you by our friends at bet.us. Just use promo code UNBEARABLE for 125% back for a new bonus. Bet.us, great place to put all of your sports bets. But today, we are going to be breaking down the Detroit Lions versus the Chicago Bears. I am joined, as always, with my dear friend and co-host, Mr. Johnny PayPal. Hey, pal, how you doing, my friend?
And brother.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good, Brad. Just been chilling, surprisingly, 70 degrees today and
Beautiful.
in Wisconsin today. So what's up with the weather? And then apparently tomorrow's going to be 30 degrees. So, that's just how the weather is. Holding this November heat for as long as I can, because I love it. But, it's going to be snowing probably in 2 days.
Yeah, it was the last dose of the nice weather, the nice warm stuff. But I feel you. We're gonna be getting that winter. It's just going straight to winter now. It's like, all right, it's been warm enough, and now it's gonna hit. So we'll see when it's supposed to snow, because it's actually supposed to be like an insane winter. We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it, but I might have to stock up on some gas for the good old snowblower. But we'll have to see. But enough of that. We got a great matchup this week. We got the Bears. We got the Lions. Hopefully, this can be a Bears victory, a nice game for Justin Fields, hopefully from a passing perspective. So normally when we go through here, we got some form of news, but there's really not a lot of news. We'll talk about some of the smaller news as we start breaking down the previews. But as we normally do, we are going to be breaking down the offense, then the defense, then who has the edge, over-unders, game predictions, and last, the game simulation. So PayPal, I have some new graphics for us as well that I'm pretty excited to show. Hopefully they look pretty good. We'll see on the YouTube side of things. For the audio, it's all the same. But let's get into this Bears offense, shall we? This Bears offense shocked the world. Everybody started talking about Justin Fields. Justin Fields is the guy, right? He's the person that is putting the team on his back. And what? He's the quarterback of the 2021 draft now that everybody wishes that they had, which is great for us. But the big question is about this passing offense. So the Bears are coming in now, according to DVOA, as the 27th ranked passing offense. Now, we've been moving up now. We're all the way up to the 23rd offense. Remember, we've always been flirting with 31 and in the 30s. We're moving on up because of Justin Fields' 23rd rank overall, 27th pass, and 15th run. That's good to see, and everybody performing a little bit better. I remember Mooney from the PFF grades was not good at the beginning, but his grade is reflecting that he is playing better, and he has been, right? When you watch the film, he has been. But PayPal, this offense, I saw, who do you feel is going to be the number one wide receiver that's out there? I know that's kind of the big piece. That's also my thumbnail on the YouTube side of things. Who do you think is going to be wide receiver one this week?
I think Darnell Mooney is still going to be wide receiver one. I mean, Claypool, he's getting his reps. He's, still kind of, he's got a whole practice that he's had with Justin Fields now. But Mooney has had the whole offseason. They've been, we've heard all these stories of them just, being together and basically all the time during practice. So I don't think Claypool is going to be coming to number one. He has the talent. But I think just because he doesn't know the offense as well, and maybe we don't label. I don't know how we can't. Maybe we don't label like as a 1 and a 2. Maybe we see Mooney kind of as that one, or maybe we see kind of Claypool as that one. But I think in terms of like receptions and targets, Mooney's still gonna be that number one guy. just with his connection with Justin Fields and kind of the timing of routes and stuff. Maybe Claypool and Fields have not gotten that chemistry down yet.
I agree with you there, and I feel at last week they wanted to try and give Claypool the ball a little bit more. Hopefully now it's more natural. Like I joked on the post game show that it looked like they just basically took the Velus Jones playbook and said, "Screw you, Velus. We're going to give this to Claypool. We're going to give you the end arounds. We're going to give you all the other plays." And I feel like Claypool needs to start. We saw what EQ was capable of last week, which wasn't much. But PayPal, I got to give you this stat because it shows how ineffective EQ St. Brown has been. When EQ has been targeted, it's a 44% completion percentage. 40 freaking 4. Terrible. When the Bears are going after when they throw to EQ St. Brown, while with Dante Pettis, right? Dante Pettis, who's been on everyone's hit list, 61%, right? That's the big difference out here is that EQ, that 44% is not doing any favors. And we talked about this last show. Claypool is that replacement for your EQ St. Brown, right? He should be that replacement. And also, Byron Pringle might even be back as well. So that's where, to me, I would not have, I would try and put Claypool out there as much as possible. But PayPal, moving forward, who do you think is going to be that number one wide receiver outside of this week? Because I kind of lean towards Claypool because of the size.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because
he does everything. Yeah, he's got that speed we saw. I mean, that's the thing. It's like he's got that Velus Jones Jr. like speed. He can do the end arounds. He can do all that. But for an explosive play, but then he also can do the deep ball. He's got that huge 6'4", just massive frame, and then he can also block. But I don't know. I think he has the potential to be that number one guy, but still, like, you think of Darnell Mooney, he can block too. Like, he can also get wide open. Like, we saw that touchdown catch. Finally, he got a touchdown.
Yeah.
It was a pretty effortless touchdown catch. Like, he got pretty wide open. It was a very nice throw by Justin Fields. But yeah, I've seen N'Keal Harry is not in this in this speak or anything, but yeah, I think I lean towards Darnell Mooney still, even in the future. Even though he's smaller, I still think he's kind of got that talent.
Makes sense. And maybe this year, it keeps that. But yeah, I think both of us, if we have to choose a number one, we can. But I think ultimately it comes down to both of these guys are number 2 wide receivers, right? Claypool feels like he's the top 3 wide receiver in the league. He needs to show it, right? And he's got the perfect opportunity to showcase that in Chicago. So yeah, we will see what ends up happening. But PayPal, I alluded to it, the potential for Byron Pringle being back today. Jake Tongas, super nice guy, got to meet him, got waived unfortunately. And our backup fullback, backup tight end, it feels like it feels like multiple things, right? Because to me, it feels like a little bit of a changing of the offensive scheme a little bit, right? With having a lot more blockers. Now you don't need as much because you have a tight end, literally a tight end in Chase Claypool, former tight end, playing wide receiver for you. And you have N'Keal Harry, huge guy out there too. And a lot of people are saying, is it going to be Byron Pringle or is it going to be Matt Adams? Who do you think comes back, PayPal?
Oh, I hope to see Byron Pringle. I don't think Matt Adams is going to be that. We wouldn't see his effect as much, I think, if Matt Adams was in there. Personally, for me, I think if we saw Byron Pringle, we would hopefully be able to see that kind of next level of Dante Pettis, who's just been, I don't mind Dante Pettis. And I think it's the same thing like EQ. It's like, but you want something more. Like, EQ has those drop balls. Like Dante Pettis, it's like, all right, like he does something decent. Like his punt returns, always just kind of average. But Byron Pringle, I think, can add that like next level and maybe get that next level offense. Like maybe, instead of a 5-yard catch for Dante Pettis, it could be 20 yards for Pringle. So he's got that explosive speed, and I think he would be the big, make a bigger difference than Matt Adams if he got that roster spot.
Yeah, and I'm trying to like analyze this move too, right? Like why are they doing it? Who does he replace, right? And I'm
Yeah.
hoping that it's Byron Pringle that comes in because you're like, well, Pringle is an offensive player. You're swapping out another offensive player. You don't need as many big body tight ends out there because they're trying to pass it more, right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to like spread things out a little bit more because you have the weapons now. And if you can get Pringle back, then awesome, right?
Yeah.
And who do you cut? You're not going to cut as much as we talk about Byron Pringle. You're not going to cut Pringle. You're not going to cut Velus Jones. You're not going to try and stash one of those players on the practice squad. Maybe Pettis, or you could get away with, but EQ they might be afraid of. EQ has
Mm-hmm.
been a contributor. I think that's the best way to kind of put it out there. But you're not going to get rid of Nikhil, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that it's Pringle. Maybe it pops up as we're talking. But the only fear that I have is Matt Adams. I feel if Matt Adams comes back, it's going to probably be like maybe it's Joe Thomas to the practice squad because they're not going to put Weatherford or that backup, the Sterling Weatherford, or they're not going to put Sanborn. They're not going to put AJ Klein, maybe AJ Klein because they just got him. But I don't know. We'll just have to see what they do. But hopefully it's Byron Pringle. Hopefully we can get some more weapons out there so we can pass it out there.
Brad, I think I don't know about you, but I get more excited about these receivers now. I think that
Yeah.
was kind of that like down, everyone's like, oh, the receivers. But it's like I think we're finally seeing the payoff of having run blocking wide receivers. Like, sure, they're not like this Tyreek Hill, like they're gonna be super explosive, but I think you kind of said it. It's like we don't have to run out of like a heavy set offense. Like we don't need 2 tight ends to run the ball. Like we
Yeah.
basically do. Yeah, we basically do. If we have Claypool, N'Keal Harry, and like Mooney out there, like we got some of the best run blockers out there, wide receiver. So and two, it's like if you run that, then you can run out of the gun rather than like under center. So then you can also incorporate the option, and I think it's beautiful stuff that's going on in this offense.
And I want to also give credit to Cole Kmet too, right? Like Cole Kmet has looked a lot better. And yet again, the grades show it. He's now ranked 20th of the tight ends. It's not the end all be all, but he has been progressing. He has been looking better out there at tight end. And I think that you can move him around in better roles. So I like the idea of having him move around. But another big piece too, Kari Blasingame was banged up last game. So this is at least a promising sign that you get rid of your backup fullback, that Blasingame is at least still healthy. One question that we have from Kip Mack, why is Velus Jones not getting burned? I feel like the big thing with Velus Jones, why is he not like burning someone, or why is he not getting more playing time? I think honestly, because in training camp, he was great in one-on-ones. Like I remember that. I remember in one-on-ones, Velus Jones was like the guy because all he had to do was just run. Because if you think about it, it's just this gigantic field. There's nobody else around him, and the dude could just run. He could just outpace him, right? And it's so hard for one defensive back to just go against that in the one-on-ones. And I think that's why some people were reporting that Velus was just looking unbelievable speed and this. But I think when it goes down to it, the biggest fear coming out of the draft for a lot of people was this guy does not really run routes. He's fast and he's got 1 year of production. And that year of production was really used when they would just funnel him the ball like on screens. And a lot of the plays that you're seeing, he wasn't a true wide receiver ever. He was just more of a big playmaker. And that's still where I think, like, do you really need this playmaker out there? And that's where when a Chase Claypool, in my opinion, Chase Claypool, I think really did take that stuff because they see him as a playmaker and as a wide receiver.
Yeah. We seen that Bayless Jones Jr. and EQ St. Brown both cannot catch a ball, So let's just keep it to one person at least, like hopefully we can have 0 people that can't catch the ball. So if we have 2 people with Velas and EQ, it just would not be pretty. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And just asked too, how many plays does he have though this season? Bayless right now has been in 4 games. He's gotten targeted 4 times, 3 receptions for 75%. I'm trying to look for snaps overall for Bayless as well.
I've seen
Overall,
him out there a lot, but it seems like maybe he doesn't get like routes. Maybe he's out there just kind of as like a decoy type of thing.
yeah, and snaps by position, what I got right now is he's had a total of 78 snaps, including special teams. He's had 29 total out wide and 14 in the slot. So the only games that he's played, week 5, 6, 7, and 8, he had 15 snaps week 8, 13 week 7. So he was getting more and more and more because it was 3, then it was 12, then it was 13, then it was 15. And then they got Claypool and they're like, screw this guy. like, we're not gonna put him out there. We're gonna keep him off, and he's not gonna be on this. He's not gonna be on the field. And I think if Pringle's back too, I don't expect Bayless to be out there whatsoever, unless it's the special teams. I think right now you got these good wide receivers out there, and this coaching staff's going, we need receivers, and you are not a receiver, you're a playmaker. And we feel like we already have playmakers on this team.
Mm-hmm.
But PayPal, I want to kind of ask you this question, okay? Kind of a confidence meter. Let's go 1 to 10, right? 10 being incredibly confident, 1 being not so confident. And then everyone else listening, you can play along too. How confident are you that Justin Fields is going to throw for over 200 passing yards during this game? And not to already
Ooh.
fast forward to the over unders, Justin Fields, the over under is 176.5 passing yards.
Now I'm
going straight to
confident.
200. You're confident
Yeah,
it's going to
I'm
be over?
confident he's going to do that 170. I think that's a pretty easy one. I mean, he did that against a pretty decent, defense last week, and now we're facing one of the worst defenses in the entire league. And people are even saying almost the worst in NFL history. Like they've just been letting up so many points. Like they let up like 29.3 points per game. And I mean, it probably is a lot higher, but then the Packers, with Karen Rodgers, will only let up like 6 points against them. But I think I would say I'm kind of like an 8.5. I would say 8.5. Like I'm fairly confident that he could do this against this not so good defense. And I honestly think with the addition of Chase Claypool of actually being in the offense finally, like, I mean, he wasn't. Yeah, last week we saw those like really just simple plays towards him. We'll see him a little bit more. Like we'll see a little more targets for him, and yeah. So I think it's a pretty easy chance that he gets that.
Okay, and in the comments, similar. We got Kip Mac with 9.7. He feels very good about that. Skokes, he's feeling 7.5. So we got some good confidence out there for the Bears with this. With potentially going over 200 yards passing, and I agree. If those wide receivers can be out there, you're gonna be able to slice and dice this defense. So let's actually flip over to this Lions defense. Now, this Lions defense is not good. But they're consistent according to DVOA. Football Outsiders DVOA ranks them 26th overall, 26 against the pass, and 26 against the run. So, needless to say, they are the 26th best defense out there, which is not good. So, no matter how you slice it, they're not great. They allow the 4th most passing yards at 268 passing yards per game. So do you think, well, maybe they're good against stopping the run? Well, they're the 2nd worst rushing defense, allowing 148.8 8 yards per carry for the rush. Not good.
So
And
Justin Fields is gonna break the record again
yeah,
this week as well? Okay.
I think fair enough. And also Kip Mack says he feels 9.7 as long as they work Bayless into the game plan. so we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. Then that's when he does it. You could be like, hey man, that was my contingency. It
Yeah.
was Bayless. But this defense, we talk about it, not really the best, right? But when we're looking through this defense, they played well against Aaron Rodgers. Now, PayPal, does that get you nervous at all? Are you scared at all about this defense because they had a good week last week? Or is it the Lions? We've already gone through some of the stats. And you can just point to that as they're not that great.
Yeah, I think we gotta take an account of how bad the Packers are playing this season, especially just Aaron Rodgers, like, just was not those interceptions that he had, it was kind of deflections. It was him just not reading the defense as well. And then one of them was actually a really good play, I believe, by Joseph. I mean, he's a fantastic rookie safety that they got, and he had 2
Yeah.
picks that game, and he looks incredible. I mean, PFF is a big fan of him, and I think he led the team also in tackles that game as well. So he was just all over the place. Um, but yeah, I think the thing that worries me the most is that secondary and then Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, you look at everyone else and you're like linebackers, it's just kind of Anzalone, the guy with the long blonde hair. Nothing too crazy from there. They're linebackers, nothing crazy. But yeah, like you got Jeff Okuda, you got Jacobs on the other side. So yeah, they got these young secondary players that just seem they can create turnovers. So yeah, I'm not too worried about them, but I think you kind of have to just put that kind of as like a side note of they might be onto something, but also they played probably one of the coldest teams in the NFL right now in the Green Bay Packers. They just do not look good. And they didn't have any receivers last week. So
Yeah. And I got to say, too, I like how you brought up Hutchinson. Hutchinson is interesting to me because he plays like he's going to be a good player, right? Like he makes the
mhm.
star plays, he makes the interception, he makes the splash stuff, but he's still just a rookie, right? And I actually feel pretty comfortable with Braxton Jones out there going against a rookie. And especially since Harris is the other guy opposite him, not necessarily the best, right? And also, I got the stats out here as well. First off, they are 8th lowest in pressure percentage, although they blitz the 7th highest rate. What this reminds me of is reminds me of the Dolphins game, right? The
Mhm.
Bears played very, very well against the Dolphins, and they were able to pick up the blitz, and Justin Fields was able to play great. But I want to just bring something up too. I tweeted this out because I know we always are worried about Justin Fields, and I just want to point this out. Last week, Justin Fields, 14 of 18 when blitzed. And when he was
Wow.
blitzed, he threw for 95 yards, 2 touchdowns, an average time to throw of 2.14 seconds, just showing that progression, right? Like
Who would
he's
have thought?
yeah, he's getting the ball out. He's learning, he's getting better. 3 scrambles, 0 sacks taken, 125.7 QB rating. So, I got to
Wow.
say like Fields, that was great, right? Let's have another game. They're going to be blitzing. Now, during that game, they blitzed 55.3% of the time. Definitely can see the Dan Campbell Fighting Lions ramping it up rather than their typical 30%, ramping it up. So another test for Fields when blitzed, does he have that hot route? Does he have that quick person to be looking at? So that's something that I'm gonna be looking at. But PayPal, anything else about this defense, this offense before we get into matchups and X factors?
Man, I mean, just kinda as like a game plan kinda scenario, I'm thinking it's just yeah, let's just go back to the run game. Yeah, just what Chip Mack said. Like, let's just go back to the run game. We didn't really have funny thing to say, we really didn't have that successful of a run game last week. Like, if we're talking about running backs. I mean, Khalil Herbert and Dave Montgomery were really non-existent. And maybe they were just game planning mainly for the running backs, and maybe that's why Justin Fields was able to just absolutely run over them. But yeah, let's get back to the running backs. Let's see if we can kind of just put them on their heels, because I think we're confident to do that. And Miami was actually a surprisingly very good run defensive team last week. So let's get back to the run.
They're going to try and sell out. And also, just want to throw this out there, even though I was going to say Denver, Detroit, they're ranked at the bottom. One thing that they do know is they don't miss tackles. They rank as one of the top teams, according to Pro Football Reference, for missed tackles. So they do not miss tackles. This seems like a game for Khalil Herbert and a Justin Fields, the people that blow by you, the people that just can run and find the hole and get to the next level, because that's where this defense struggles. So to me, I'd be running with those guys rather than a David Montgomery. That's just my personal preference, because Monty's more the I'm going to make you miss, I'm going to make you pay for that, while Herbert is the straight ahead. Makes it seem like I'm just always like, he just runs straight, but no, he just
is always going forward.
He's a strong runner. He's just always trying to go forward. So that's where I really like that. But PayPal, let's go over to our monster matchups. So the monster matchups, people that we feel that we are feeling that this is going to be the matchup to watch. Now, every time we go with this offensive matchup, you always seem to chicken out. Here, I'll even put up you always have me go first on this one. So is this going to be the week where you end up going first?
Yeah. Hey, I'll do it, Brad. Just to, get a little confidence in myself. I think my matchup is Larry Borum against Aiden Hutchinson. We'll see if Larry Borum is back. I'm assuming he is going to be back instead of Riley Reef. And let's see him coming back. Let's see if he can face this talented, very talented rookie in Aiden Hutchinson. And I honestly think that's the only person you really have to kind of worry on this defensive line. So if we got him taken care of, I think Justin Fields will have a clean pocket and will not have to stress at all.
And it looks like it's going to be Riley Reef. I just checked.
Oh, it is
depth chart.
Then Riley Reef might be. He'll be my. We'll see if he can kind of just prove that he might be the starter. I mean, even if Larry Borum does come back, because he has been playing pretty darn good. To kind of all of our disbelief. Like, I did not think he was doing good at all preseason, and now he's looking pretty darn good, just coming right into this offense mid through the season.
Awesome. So let me see. Now, this is where I struggle. I'm trying to figure out what to go after on these defensive matchups, because it's
pretty hard going second for this, Brad?
Yeah, it is.
Tough.
Like I never knew that you gave me the easy way by going first with some of this. So a couple thoughts is I want to go secondary, especially since you went on the line, right? I do love the idea of Hutchinson, because that is their guy, right? 4.5 sacks. Everyone else has only 1, except Anzalone has 1.5. But I might go with, I think, honestly, maybe Will Harris in the slot. I think Will Harris in the slot is going to be who we are targeting. He's not a great cornerback overall. Having a slightly better year than he has previously, but has never really been a good slot corner. So that's the guy who I'm going to be trying to attack. They are going to have Jerry Jacobs most likely on the outside. Had a pretty good game last week, but we'll see what he is actually capable of. That might be another spot for them to attack. But I think ultimately I'm going to go with Will Harris and Darnell Mooney as my monster matchup of the week, because Claypool will do his thing. He'll be on Akuda. So we shall see. And right on cue, here's Don Burr, Detroit. He's the big Detroit fan that's out there. Welcome back, Don. But let's go over to our X factors, right? Let me know what you guys think. Who do you think is going to be this X factor out here? So the X factor on the offense that's going to take over this game besides Justin Fields. PayPal, who you got?
Man, it's tough. There's a lot of guys I'm kind of thinking of because I mean, first thing that comes to mind is EQ. I mean, he's going against his brother. His family would be in the stands,
Yeah.
you know, debating which one's their favorite son, all that stuff. Just kidding. But I think I always want him to have a good game, but my confidence for EQ St. Brown has just kind of gone downhill. But I think kind of obvious choice, but I think Chase Claypool, he's one of those guys. I want him to just prove that he does fit into this offense, that we should just the second round pick that we got up for him like is deserved, and we did not, we almost underpaid for him. So I think Chase Claypool, hopefully we can connect to him on another deep ball and not get absolutely clobbered out there. And yeah, let's see him into this offense and incorporated pretty heavily because he's a talented young man.
Yeah, man, my X factor this week, because I like Claypool, and I'm trying to think of anybody besides Claypool, right? Because to me, the matchup, Mooney can win that. Mooney can kind of get started with it. But yeah, I think Claypool's going to be that person to potentially take the top off of the defense. Actually, with this, I'm going to switch it up because I think Claypool's a good one. I'm going to go with Cole Kmet. I think that Cole Kmet, he's been getting more involved in this offense. And you look at the linebackers, you have good matchups because Anzalone, he's not a good linebacker. And then you have Malcolm Rodriguez, his rookie guy, big. Well, he's a pass rusher. They like to send him on the blitz, and he's pretty good at that. But he's small, 5'11", 230. I remember scouting him. He's a good player, a feisty player, but I want to see him in coverage. Cole, show how big you are. Show that off, right? So I like Cole Kmet as my X factor because we haven't even talked about the offensive line too much because this is not a great pass rush unit. They don't have, like you said, they have Hutchinson, but nothing really else. I think that's where Cole Kmet, having that shorter attack, and you kind of let Kirby Joseph, the safety, kind of play deep, have them play kind of those deep zones, while then you have Cole Kmet kind of go underneath and attack those linebackers. Cole Kmet is my X factor. But PayPal, yeah. But let's flip over to the defense, though. The Bears defense. We have some comments out here on that. But first, we have a sponsor. We have an ad read. I've never done this ad read before, so it's probably going to suck. So life is back on sports bettors. BetUS has you covered. NHL, NBA, NFL, UFC. Yes, the NFL. Betting lines up for their 27th year and live betting on all of it. Log in to betus.com or call 1-800-792-3887. That's 1-800-79-BET-US. BetUS for 125% bonus with promo code UNBEARABLE. Customer service pros are ready to get your phone, social, online sports betting. Kickoff started now. Play with the proven mainstay in the industry. BetUS. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. How is that, PayPal?
I love it, Brad. Great for the first ad read of the day. Or just ever. It was awesome.
That might have been the worst ad read of all time. I'm sorry, BetUS. Yeah.
Hey, I didn't find anything wrong with it. So yeah, don't worry. Maybe I'm just easy to please.
Yeah, I will be betting with BetUS though this weekend. Just make sure to use the link down in the description. You'll see, and also just use our promo code UNBEARABLE. Helps out the show tremendously. So if you are going to bet, try to do that. But back to the show, and hopefully those reads go better. Back to the show. Let's go over to this defense now. Tiff already has a question for us waiting. I like this. What do you think? Should Flus take over defensive play calls? He says, I say Flus take out the belt and whoop the defense if they can't get their stuff together. Do you think it's time for the Bears to switch over? Because I'll show you this right now. This Bears defense has plummeted inside of the Football Outsiders reference. It's 31 rank, 30th pass, 28th run. Is it time for Flus, or are you sticking with Alan Williams?
Yeah, Brad, it's weird. I mean, beginning of the season, we seemed like we were kind of that middle of pack defense. Um, and after just those 2 weeks of just letting up 30 plus points, well, technically it was not 30 plus points last week because it was 28, uh, including the special teams touchdown. But we won't be too technical here. But it just seemed so easy for the Miami defense last week and as well as for the Cowboys the other week. But with that being said, those are very talented football teams. I think we had to take into account. Like those are Super Bowl level teams. We don't have that Super Bowl talent yet, kind of in our front seven. I like to think that we have kind of our Super Bowl ready roster in our secondary. I don't think we'll be changing our secondary much like ongoing next year. So yes, it might be a little bit of Alan Williams' fault. Maybe he's just not preparing the guys as much as he should. Especially when we just look at the first half, it just is atrocious. Um, but I think you just kind of have to look at the talent of the guys. Like we're generating no pressure, and maybe just look at the D line coach. I mean, we get no pressure, and our front seven just doesn't look that great.
Yeah, and what I'll say about this too is I remember when the Bears got Eberflus, and I said this last show, and I'll keep saying it, right? This defense, everybody says it's bad against good players and it's good against bad players, right? We
Mm,
saw that against New England. We looked pretty good. And like I'm just looking at the defensive stats. Good offense in Minnesota, we allowed for over 400 yards. Good offense in Green Bay, over 400 yards. Good offense in Dallas, over 400 yards, right? Like, and we all saw
mhm.
good offense in Miami, 379. So pretty darn close, right? Um, I think that's what you're seeing is that this defense can do well against bad offenses, right? We look at Washington Commanders, 214, 260 with New England. That's what this defense is capable of. And I don't think it's because Roquan's gone. I think it's really this defense. And
Mhm.
Kip Mack out there, I think he thinks that it's going to be a better week. And I agree. I'm excited to see what happens because this offense coming in from Detroit can score, right? They are eighth for the passing offense overall in yards, and they are ninth in rushing yards. So they can get the ball moving. They do get yards, but I want to see what this scheme does because it's about the scheme, I feel. And that's where I think that it could do well against a Jared Goff, who Jared Goff has not really played different when he's been under pressure and when he hasn't. He's kind of been
Mhm.
even keel. He's kind of just been Jared Goff the whole time. So that's where to me, yeah, I'm excited to see what they can at least do, even though DVOA absolutely hates the Bears now.
Yeah, Brad, I think it's pretty funny. I saw this on Twitter or a couple days ago where it's like we hired Matt Nagy as an offensive guru to fix our offense. What was the best thing on our team? Our defense, and our offense was absolutely like the worst in the NFL. We hire a defensive ex defensive coordinator, like defensive guru, and then we have one of the worst defenses in the league, and our offense is just looking better and better every week. Like that just makes no sense.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what the heck? But yeah, I'm not too worried about this offense, Brad, to be honest, against our defense. I think this is one of those weeks that we will kind of shine, so to speak, and be like, oh, are we back kind of on the defensive side? Like you kind of said, we do play good against bad offenses. And I think we will kind of be like, wow, like our defense is back type of thing. But this Lions offense has not looked good the past 2 weeks. They were the highest scoring offense in the first 4 weeks, and then they just fell off. They fell off, and now they're not doing well, and they got rid of TJ Hawkinson, and yeah, they are kind of falling apart.
Yeah, going to that against the Patriots 4 weeks ago, they scored 0 points. And like the first 4 weeks they were the highest scoring offense, right? 35, 20 or 35, 36, 24, 45, then 0, 6, 27 and then 9. So, here's the thing, right? Like you said, this offense might not be great. It's kind of running into a little funk right now. It's kind of turning into the Lions again, right? Not that great. But I do want to go back to a little bit on the scheme, and I want to talk a little bit about this Bears scheme before kind of going into it. And with the with the cover two, right? Let's just go back to classic Lovey. When the Bears were good and they had this great defense with the cover two with Lovey, who did they have? Tommy Harris as the 3 technique, right? And even though they didn't have great edges, a lot of it was on Tommy. When Tommy was in, this defense was incredible. Look at Tampa Bay when they had that. They had Warren Sapp. They had somebody, they had that 3 tech in the middle that could push the pocket. Now, I have some stats up about how much the Bears win, their win rate against the pass, according to PFF, because win rate is always highly debated, right? Trevis Gibson is your highest defensive lineman, kind of as expected, at 15.7%. Doesn't seem terrible, doesn't seem great, but I looked at that. It's like in the 50s. It's like 50s or 60th for edges. It's not great, right? The top end people get 20% for their pass rush win rate. But then you go down to who's next. Can you guess who's next across the defensive line?
Oh, that's a tough one. Is it Justin Jones?
It is Dominique Robinson at
Wow.
8.4%. So he is your second most efficient at 8.4%. Do you know where that ranks? That's over 100th. That is in the hundreds among edge rushers that actually rush the passer. That's not great, right? And you keep going down. Al-Qadim Muhammad, 6.9%, which is, I think it was like the 5th worst out of 150 people. It's terrible. I don't have the exact stat, but I have the win percentage. Justin Jones is then all the way down at 5.8%. And that's terrible. Angel 3 and Armand Watts, 2.9. Right? Armand Watts, I believe, has the worst pass rush win rate overall. And that's also a tongue twister to say. He has the worst win rate, right? And this is a guy who's starting now for you. And yes, he is coming in a little bit more on those downs. So when we talk about this defense, especially in the cover two, is about winning your matchups and getting pressure, especially up the middle. You can't do that when your best interior player is at 5.8%. Oh, I forgot too. Mike Pennell is also at 5.8% as well. So it's not great in the middle. It's not great on this line. And there's not much else you can do, right? Like you could try and get some veteran, like we've talked about before, out in free agency. But when I think about this defense is predicated on the front four getting pressure, which they just don't do. And would I send a blitz this week? No, I would send a blitz against a good offense. I wouldn't necessarily do it this week and try and take advantage of Jared Goff. They're 7th overall in turning the ball over, or 7th worst in 14%. So they turn the ball over at high marks. So I just wanted to throw that out there, but also Skokes, thank you for reminding me as well. Muhammad has not practiced this week as well as Kindle Vildor. PayPal, does that scare you at all with those guys potentially being out? What do you feel?
I was about to mention Kindle Vildor, because one thing I know you don't really want the blitz. The only thing I would like to see the team do is blitz with, like, say, Gordon or Brisker.
Ooh, I like that.
I really like the sound of it, because Kyler Gordon and Brisker are both just frisky and just very aggressive and fast. Like, we kind of saw in preseason, like, they're able to get on that edge quick. And Kyler Gordon, I think he's just kind of meant for that kind of slot corner blitz. And I'd love to see that, maybe a strip sack. Just fantasizing a little bit. But yeah, when you when you say like Muhammad isn't practicing, I think the only person on this defensive line, like if you told me that was injured and was not practicing, like I think Travis Gibson would be the only person I would honestly be worried about. I mean, with
Yeah.
how that whole line has been playing, it's like, does it even matter who's out there? Like, no one's playing incredibly well. No one's playing good. So yeah, it's kind of messed down there. So if Kendall
Yeah.
Vildor would be nice to have back in. He's kind of been solid. Um,
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you with that. But I will say, first off, sup, Donald? And
Hey.
secondly, Jaquan Brisker, 13.3% win rate while he's rushing the passer. Just saying.
Hey,
They charted for 3 sacks. Does he actually have 3 sacks?
Brisker?
Yeah,
I would not be surprised. I
he
mean,
might. Yeah, he does. He had
yeah,
one against the Giants, one against Washington, one against Dallas. Yeah,
wow.
let's do that, right?
Yeah,
He's
keep blitzing
frisky.
them.
He's frisky. I like that. I like that a lot more, right? You got to switch it up. You're doing something out there that's a little bit different. Throw them off guard. Make Jared Goff think with his tiny hands, right? Yeah. What do I do with these tiny hands? He's going to be asking himself. But PayPal, with this defense though, too, Matt Adams potentially back. We alluded to it a little bit. I fear that Jack Sanborn's time might be kind of dwindling. I think that this is a big game for Jack Sanborn because if Matt Adams isn't already going to be activated, you know, he didn't look great last week. Yet again, we said nobody really looked good last week. He's got to have a better game if he wants to be at least the same because Joe Thomas has not been bad. And also, Matt Adams, that's Eberflus's boy, right? And in preseason, he was taking those snaps when Roquan was not out there at the middle line. They were doing the middle linebacker weak side. So Matt Adams has those snaps. Sanborn's really got to play out there.
Yeah, I think I honestly didn't think he played well either last game, but the media and how they're portraying it and kind of just what I've heard from, Eberflus and kind of the coaches is they seemed like they liked what Sanborn did out there. I mean, his first start, like he didn't throw away the game. You can see when Gordon was playing his first few games as a rookie, he just kind of almost threw away a few games. Like, I mean, I think it's pretty fair to say that. But I think he kind of got the first game jitters out of the way. I think being on the field now, he can kind of understand and kind of, instead of thinking a lot, like he can kind of trust his instincts, and you kind of hope that kind of gets better as he just keeps playing. Because I think defensively, instincts is a huge thing, and he just kind of doesn't have that yet. Only playing one game.
For sure. So we'll see that. And also, I like what Tiff said. Time to make Bayless play cornerback.
Hey,
I just picture like a Madden user-controlled player that's super fast, just running everywhere. Like with Bayless, he says you can't catch the ball, you can tackle, right? You just have him going every which way. Just Bayless, you just do you. Like, if you want to blitz, you can blitz.
Hey, put him at the edge rusher.
You can't get much worse. You can't get much worse. So let's actually go over to this offense because speaking of they can't get much worse, this line is good. But yet again, we joked about this, but it was actually serious with the Patriots, right? Patriots had a very good line. The Bears ended up playing very well against the Patriots because the quarterback situation. This line is very good. They got Decker, they got Jackson, Frank Ragnow, arguably one of the best centers. Brown's been playing phenomenally at that guard position, and also Sewell, their young second-year player out of Oregon, has been playing great. But yeah, Evan Brown is their right guard who good run blocker, not necessarily the best pass blocker, but yet again, that doesn't really matter because of how our interior pressure goes. But I mean, Justin Jones has been looking a little bit better. But PayPal, anything on this offense that you fear?
I think St. Brown is the number one. There's just not many guys besides the offensive line that you're like, oh wow, like those people could be like all pro, or they could, kind of are that star talent. Jamal Williams is a great player. I mean, Jared Goff has always just been that middle tier quarterback, but St. Brown is absolutely phenomenal. And, it makes me a little jealous. I wish we had we could just swap out the St. Browns right now. But yeah, he does everything well. Like he's a quick receiver, but he's also very physical. He can block. He can basically do everything. So that's kind of one of those guys. If Jalen Johnson can have a comeback game, please lock him down, because Jalen Johnson has just not been that lockdown corner yet this year that we've kind of seen in prior years.
Yeah, and he was looking like that a little bit at the very beginning, and yeah, 2 bad games. Ever since kinda coming back from that injury, he hasn't really looked the same, right?
Hmm.
And that might be part of it. It's just not him getting back into his own, also just the offense the defense in general. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is very interesting because in a couple games, in 3 games, he played just about over 70% of the snaps in the slot. And then the other games, the 4 other games, he's then predominantly out wide. So I could see the Lions trying to say, hey, let's kind of throw him in at that slot position to throw him off, right? Put our best player against Gordon is going to be something that we're going to need to watch and monitor. One thing that I want to bring up too, they are Football Outsiders has them ranked 12th overall according to DVOA, 14th for the pass, and 11th for the run. So going to this run, hey pal, it's kind of been the joke that the Bears will always lock down one running back and then one running back will kind of go off. If you had a bet, what running back do you think is going to go off and what running back do you think is going to get locked down? Swift or Williams? Because they use them both dominantly, right? One's fast, one can catch, and one's more of that hammerhead. What do you feel?
Yeah. Yeah, Brett, I would say, I mean, if DeAndre Swift does play, it seems like I don't know if he previously had an injury and he's just kind of coming back, but he only had 2 carries last week, and Jamal Williams had 24 carries. So it seems like they're kind of just relying on Jamal Williams now. And DeAndre Swift has just been kind of shoved aside. But if DeAndre Swift is kind of coming back from this mysterious injury that may not be real that I'm talking about, I think he's the one I would be worried about. Yeah, it is always those fast guys that we just can't tackle. They just run right past our super weak defensive front 7. So Jamal Williams, hopefully they still rely heavy on him. He is a good back, but I don't think he's going to be one of those guys that goes more than four more yards. Like he just seems like he gets 4 yards, and that's basically his max. Like, he doesn't go anything further than that.
Yeah, Swift is definitely the one that scares me. But yeah,
Mhm.
we'll see how he is with the injury. We'll see what he ends up doing. But yeah, whenever you have that feisty runner, it seems like the Bears usually lock them down. So hopefully they don't play Swift and Williams. I have to start him this week because I have him in fantasy, and it's yeah,
Boo.
I have to. I really don't have another
Boo.
option. I gotta throw him out there so he can get a touchdown, right? And then after that, kind of like what happened with Mostert, because I also started him last week,
Oh my
where he
gosh.
gets the 1 touchdown, and I'll be fine.
I'm
I'll be fine.
shaking my head right now if anyone can see.
I
I'm disappointed. I am disappointed.
I know. I
But hey,
know.
I don't blame you. We do have a terrible defensive line, and Jamal Williams does lead the league in rushing touchdowns. So,
He's a good player to have. He's a very
yeah,
good player to have. So let's go over to our monster matchups. Hey, pal, are you throwing this over to me, or do you have a matchup in the holster?
I do have one in the holster, and I'm gonna fire out real quick.
All right.
Jalen Johnson is. I kind of alluded to him before. I think he's a. I would like to see him kind of have that comeback game, and we'll need him to just basically lock down St. Brown, because no one else really scares me on this offense besides him. I mean, they're tight end without TJ Hawkinson. Um, they don't really have any weapons, coming out of the wide receiver, tight end, the receivers. So St. Brown, lock him down, come back. Jalen Johnson, please come back to your normal self. And maybe it is just because that this defensive coordinator, Brad, maybe this is why he's just not, these players aren't liking this system. Maybe this just is not a right fit for these players. Who knows? But Jalen Johnson, we need you.
Okay, so I like that because that definitely is going to be the biggest matchup. I could even go with like Gordon, right? Because Gordon is going to be that guy out there. I'm going to go for my matchup, and he might not even play, but I'm going to go Jack Sanborn versus Jamal Williams because this line is going to be able to block. This line is going to be able to move the line. Just our our paper people out there on the front line, they're going to be moved, right? And so to me, it's going to be about the linebackers. It's going to be about shedding the blocks. Morrow, not a great block shedder. We know this.
Yep.
I think if Sanborn, to me, I could even put him as the X factor. I think Sanborn needs to have a good game. And I think he needs to really track these running backs and really kind of meet them in the hole. So I think he's going to be going against Jamal Williams, and he's going to need to be that reliable tackler, just like how Roquan was. Williams is not a fast guy. He needs to make sure that he can bring him down and make some of those big plays. Let's go over to the X factors. PayPal, who is your X factor on this defense that can really take this game over, or who needs a big game in order for us to win?
Yeah, I think Brisker. I talked about it before. I would love to see him kind of on these blitzing plays. Maybe he can get in Jared Goff's head. I know it seems like maybe this year he doesn't like pressure. I mean, pressure isn't kind of getting his head as it normally does. Because I remember when he was on the Rams, and the Rams were this hot team, and then we played them, and we're just completely in his head with just pressuring the crap out of him. And we had a bunch of turnovers, and it was just an amazing game for the Bears. But yeah, Brisker, I just think he needs to be blitzing. He needs to get those tackles for losses. He's got to be aggressive against the run and, get in the backfield, as well as just kind of try to be a ball hawk and get some pass deflections. But I think it's mainly getting in the backfield, getting these tackles for losses, and sacking the quarterback.
Okay. Yeah. And I think we're in the same thoughts. And we have Kip Mack out here saying Robinson. I think Robinson is a great X factor, especially because they line him up all over the place, right? And he needs to make sure that he can get some pressure out there. I am right there with you, PayPal, though, with the X factor. I was going to double down on Sanborn, but I'm like, no, Jackson to me, I'm going Eddie Jackson because Eddie Jackson has been the big play guy. He's been the coverage guy that can make these great plays. We need some interceptions. We need some big plays. And I think there's no better player out there than Eddie Jackson right now for the big plays because we need those turnovers to win because we have not been great. And if I had to do a storyline of the game, Bears, can you guess their third down conversion rate? Right? If you were the offense going against the Bears, what's the Bears' third down conversion rate? Pop quiz.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, did they? I think they said it in the last game. Is it 50%?
It's 50%. It's 50.5. Detroit Lions,
That's
they're worse at
crazy.
51. But yeah, we're 50, right? Let's
Yeah.
get that down. We need to make sure that we can get them out. So yeah, it's going to be absolutely nuts out there, right?
Mhm.
So I'm excited. I'm curious to see how this ends up going. But yeah, to me, X Factor is going to be the man, the myth, the Eddie Jackson. So, PayPal, we have gone through the offense and we have gone through the defense. So that leads us to the moment everybody's been waiting for, the special teams review. So, PayPal, you got anything for the special teams review?
Not too much, Brad. Not too much. Let me see here. Let's try to punt the ball a little bit quicker. And I don't know. I mean, it's punting the ball a little bit quicker, but Khalil Herbert. I hope Khalil Herbert just watched that so many times on film of just completely whiffing on a block on Phillips. And yeah, hopefully he got his special teams blocking down. We know he was not a good pass blocker for our offense. So hopefully he got his blocking down, and hopefully we just don't see that ever again.
Yeah, I agree. And Tiff echoes that too. Special teams needs protection. Can't have that blocking out there. And at first I was going to say, well, why not put like a Tonjes back there? But oh yeah, he just got waived. And right, like, and maybe they put a Matt Adams out there, but yeah, like Khalil Herbert needs to show that he can block, and this is the best way, right? Because you're literally going to be out there. And Tiff said too, make Bayless do that, right?
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, if he needs to play, you got to see that. But the only thing is, like, yeah, it's hard. Tiff is saying make Bayless work. It's difficult though, because Bayless, every time that you need him to do something, he's not doing it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Drops it, sure, touchdown. A beautiful pass by Justin Fields. Muffs some punts. But PayPal, I always got stats. On the special teams review. Detroit Lions, number 2 team in kick returns. We got to be sharp on the kick return coverage. 25.5. So second best out there. Just definitely something that we need to be watching out there. I wasn't expecting it to be that great, but it is. But a big reason Cleef Raymond had 1 return for 52 yards, but then you have Maurice Alexander at 24.3, Justin Jackson at 23.3, all around good returners that are out there. So nothing, I mean, Raymond had a good return, but to me, they're not super explosive, but you just got to try and limit that, right? Dolphins were really bad at it. You're going to want to try and maybe just kick it in the back of the end zone. So we'll have to see what the Bears end up doing there. But besides that, they have Jack Fox, one of the best punters that are out there. So hopefully we don't have to return any punts. I mean, in the sense of they just kick it and it just goes out of bounds, or it just goes straight up in the air and we can't return it. Not because,
or just get a bunch of turnovers so they will never punt the ball.
Yeah. We never see the punter because our offense has been bad. So hopefully we do see Jack Fox a little bit more, but they also have the money badger, Michael Badgley, coming back, the revenge game of the money badger. So just something to be on the lookout for as well. PayPal, now it is time. We got to go through the edge. We got some over-unders, and then we got some game predictions out there with my new slide that I'm excited to showcase. So
I've been thinking about it the entire episode, Brad.
I get it. Yeah, it's going to be that good of a slide.
I'm just so excited.
Gotta wait. But
I'll be sitting down. Don't worry. I'll be sitting down so I don't,
brace yourselves, ladies and gents. So who has the edge? We have first one, PayPal. I'm going to throw this over to you. Who has the edge? We have the not Dolphins. I have Dolphins. Lions run defense versus the Bears running offense.
I gotta say, so the Lions run offense?
Lions run defense versus our running offense.
Okay, I think it's easy. No team has basically been able to stop our run offense. I mean, even when we faced the Dolphins last week, they were able to stop our running backs, but not our quarterback. And I think that's just how the season's going to go. If you stop our quarterback, our running backs are going to run on you. If you stop quarterbacks and running backs, our wide receivers are going to run on you. So it's just going to be this vicious cycle. No one's going to stop our run, no matter what team you are. And the Lions are thankfully not a good run defense. So
yeah,
we're going to have a heyday.
Let's go. Number 1 run offense for a reason. So let's go over to this Bears passing offense versus the Lions pass defense. It's over to me. Bears passing offense. Second week in a row. So let's do this. Let's go with this Bears passing offense. Excited to see what the Bears offense is going to be able to put out there. So let's see it, right? Justin Fields, as he gets more comfortable with Chase Claypool, you have a legitimate weapon. So 2 legitimate number 2s, and if you can get Byron Pringle back this week, Byron Pringle is a solid receiver, but you also have N'Keal Harry, right? The more that we can get this chemistry down, the better and better and better this passing offense is going to be. And the Lions are such a fun team to pass against. So next, Bears run defense versus the Lions run offense. PayPal, are we getting some redemption or what?
Brad, you give me the easy ones this week. It's a heck to the no. I mean,
Oh,
we are not gonna stop this run. I just after having this whole episode of just kind of crapping on our defensive line, I think Jamal Williams is a talented running back. Again, we won't see these crazy breakout runs from him, but he will exhaust our defensive line and he will get those 4 to 5 yard carries, but not like a 20-yard carry. So I think they have the edge on their offense against our run defense.
okay. And last, Lions pass offense versus the Bears pass defense. I was feeling a lot more comfortable. It's hard because we just haven't seen this thing work, but I'm actually going to give it to us. I am. I'm going to give us the edge just because of Jared Goff, right? We got to have some faith out there, and I think especially you see that Lions logo and you go, we can beat this team, right? And I think ultimately this pass defense comes back and showcases what we've been saying, right? They're good against bad quarterbacks. And Jared Goff, not a great quarterback, not a great decision maker out there. I think ultimately the Bears are going to do well. So Bears have the edge as we just defined. Let's see what we can do. Let's switch over to the over-unders yet again. Don't use us as betting advice for right now. We'll have something better next week, but use bet.us and use our promo code unbearable. But let's go through these on over-unders. Bears -3. We are 3-point favorites at home.
Nice.
PayPal, who are you taking? Are you taking Detroit plus the 3 or Bears
No,
-3?
I think it's easy. Bears -3.
Go.
Yeah, I don't see them stopping our offense. To be honest, and their offense has not looked very good. The Lions' offense has not been that great. So it just, even though our defense has been looking very susceptible to just anything, I think our defense will look a little better and we'll be able to get more of a gap than just 3 points.
Okay, and I'm gonna actually do a fun one. Total score, because total score
Yes.
48.5 is the line. It was like 42.5. It's like, okay, just smash the over on that from last week because you knew that it was going to be a bunch of points. I'm actually, I would take the over, right? I think
Yeah.
that this the only thing that I fear is like, what if the Bears defense all of a sudden wakes up, and or more so that the Lions just become the Lions. They're not scoring, but the Lions put up 20 points against the Miami Dolphins. I feel like they might be able to put up 20. I think that this Bears offense is going to put up in the 30s. I would go over there. And PayPal, I'm going to give you, I'll give you all the hard ones. I think that this is hard. David Montgomery, 13.5 carries, over under.
Oh, man.
And what does
Yeah,
everybody else feel too in the chat?
that-
David Montgomery, 13.5 carries. I think that one's tough.
man, I just think any Bears running back like carries is honestly one of the hardest things, and like kind of the yards, because you just don't know, like last week they did nothing, but then this week, like Montgomery could be the breakout running back or Herbert could be the breakout, you just don't know. Oh man. I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna say he's gonna get something around like 12 carries. I don't think he's gonna get above that 13.5.
Okay.
That just seems a lot for him, honestly, to get over 13.5. I think we're gonna be pretty run heavy this week, but again, we run it with our wide receivers, we run it with Justin Fields, we run it with 2 running backs. So it's a heavy run team, but it's diversified.
Yeah. And so I agree with that. And my next one, I'm not going to go easy because Justin Fields, we already talked about 176.5 passing yards. We both believe that's over. And I think a big reason is also I could see the Bears saying we want to add confidence to Justin Fields, pass that ball, right? Pass that ball, have it thrown out there. But I'm gonna go over to. I'll give myself what I think is a difficult one, which is Cole Kmet 2.5 receptions over under for that. I I kind of go under.
Ooh, really?
Even though he's my X factor, I feel like it's hard for me to say over. It is. It
It
is.
is, yeah.
Um, I mean, but I could totally because I can see him getting 2. I think 2, either go 2 and 3, and that's why I'm kind of leaning towards 2. Um,
That's why
oh
they do it. That's why they're
yeah,
these
that's how it is.
these
That's
line
exactly how
makers.
it is. But PayPal, I'll actually give you the last one. I have a bonus one because I thought this was interesting. Chase Claypool, 36.5 receiving yards. What are you feeling?
Oh, over.
Okay.
We're going over. We're going over, Brad. He's kind of like how I feel with Mooney, where he can get one play and you're like, all right, there's 40 yards, like there's that mark. Like they can get we've seen these deep ball passes and it only has been connecting really to Mooney. And now that we have this time with Claypool, I think one's gonna connect and he's just gonna get that in one pass. So I say over 36 yards.
Okay. Sounds good. Also, I guess there's hot girls are waiting in the
Oh,
chat.
awesome.
Don't click on the links. I don't have a way to block it.
It's just so
Yeah.
tempting, Brad. I've got to click it.
Yeah, don't click it. Don't click it. For those that are listening, there's a bot that's out there. The next thing that holy cow, that bot is going nuts. I might have to go handle that. But Donald in the chat says something really interesting, right? That the Bears could potentially lose out, hold that number 1 pick hostage. I love the idea of them trading down, but honestly, if they were drafting number 1, got to look at the guy from Alabama on that edge, right? He's looking very good. That's a
Yeah.
franchise level edge rusher that you can get. And Will Anderson, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name, but Will Anderson, phenomenal, right? You got to go with that. There's a lot, even though it's not potentially sexy, you want to kind of go after. It's not a hot girl waiting for you, right?
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not.
Bear forever. Don't go to the light. um, but yeah, I think overall though, like it'll be interesting. But yeah, we want the Packers to do bad, but not as good, not bad enough to get a great quarterback or anything like that. But PayPal, I'm gonna try and try and kick out the sexy
Yeah.
girls that are trying to find the love. So I'm gonna
Gosh, don't ruin
pass.
the fun. Everyone's probably clicking that. I'm
Everybody.
kidding.
Yeah, we got to keep everybody here. If there's sexy girls out there for them, we
Yeah.
make sure nobody clicks that. But let's actually go over to our game predictions. And speaking of sexy stuff, look at this slide we got here, ladies and gents.
Oh, wow. Oh,
This is
that's an
the
old
slide.
picture of me.
Yeah, we got PayPal with the mustache. We got me. That's also actually a very old picture of me, but
Yeah, that is too, yeah.
but we have the prediction standings. So I am number 1 or tied for number 1 at 6-3. The simulation is 6-3. And because I was kind of getting, it was a little lame with the preseason one. So I have a coin flip. And ladies and gents, the coin flip is better than Johnny PayPal. The coin flip is at six
Oh
and
my
three,
god, that's
and
tough.
Johnny PayPal is holding it down at the very, very end at 5-4.
Hey, it's gonna be keep going worse because I'm just trying to get back up there. So I've been having my ballsy picks and they've not been working out.
So PayPal, you are in the doghouse. You are at the very bottom. Who are you picking for this game, and what are your game predictions? Also, for those watching live and watching afterwards on YouTube, let me know down in the comments what are your game predictions so you can kind of help me out with my game prediction. PayPal, what is yours?
Yeah, I think most of the time I'm usually like, okay, we can lose. Like against the Dolphins, I'm like, I was fine if we lose. I'm fine if we lose against the Cowboys because these are good teams. But if we lose against the Lions, that would be pretty depressing. So I think we're gonna win against the Lions. Like just everything just points towards winning them. Our offense has been looking amazing. This is the worst defense. Their offense has not looked great. Our defense plays good against bad offenses. So I think this is a pretty easy win for us. I saw like kind of the pro ESPN and analysts kind of put in their game picks and their scores and stuff, and no one had either team scoring above 30. Like, and if it was above 30, it was maybe 31. Um, I think that's pretty disrespectful to the Bears, and I think this could be the week that we might hit 40 points. Maybe
Let's do it.
I'm getting
Let's do it.
crazy, but I think we could get above 40 points. We could maybe get 42. So I'm saying Bears 42, Lions. This is a hard one. Lions 17. Lions
Okay.
17.
I like
So
it.
we'll still hit that over on the betting odds, but man, I think the Bears offense, we face two, like, Dolphins decent offense, Cowboys elite defense, or yeah, and then now we're facing Lions. So
I like that.
I think we
I
got
like
it.
that a lot, especially at home, right?
Yeah.
At home, this Bears team plays very well. Everyone's going to be going crazy. Like Chase Claypool, you heard him say it. When he got a catch, it was just like a basic catch. He's like, I didn't know they love me that much. Right? Like this is great because there was all these people that just didn't love him. And all of a sudden now you got this now everybody loves him. We all love him out there. So I am glad that Chase Claypool's out there. I think that the Bears are going to run up the score, right? I think that
Yeah.
even though that I think that the Lions aren't as bad as a lot of people think, they're the Lions, right? You don't know what type of a Lions team you're going to get out there. So, yeah, and Tiff Tiff says, "Hey, we lost at home to the commies, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
those commies came in, they took control. It was not a patriotic day for us, right? Uh, but yeah, we have Bear Forever. Bears swat the Lions 42-28. I give the Lions credit for having a serviceable offense, but I get the feeling Trenton Gill will take this week off. Bears don't punt on Sunday. Bear Forever 14. I love
I
it.
love it.
I love that, right? I think I like the prediction too to go over 40. I gotta go with it too. I gotta go with
Yeah.
42. I do. I do.
Yeah,
It's
I
my favorite
know.
number. I gotta go with 42. I'm going Bears 42 and Lions. Oh God, that is the hard one.
Yeah, 17 felt nice.
Lions are 24. Um, Donald says, okay, I'm slow. Who are the commies? The Commanders. Commanders, Commandos, any word with C, basically.
Yeah.
C
The
and some
football
M's.
team, whatever.
Yeah. But then we also got David Cobbins. He's thinking franchise quarterback Justin Fields will win 34-17. Let's go. We're all picking the Bears. And now it is time for the coin flip, PayPal. This is the bane of your existence. it's beating you. Let's see. Heads, Bears win.
Oh, it's not
Tails.
even a coin. I don't feel as bad then.
Yeah, it's not actually. Like I didn't have a coin by me. I just had my phone. So I was like, I'll just click it. So it's not a legit coin. I might need to get a legit coin. So I'm gonna flip. It is heads.
Heads.
Coin flip. I'm sorry, PayPal. You are not going to be taking the lead this week.
Dang.
The coin flip has stated it is going to be the Bears victory. I'm going to sign into quarter4.io so that we can kind of get this prediction on the run. But PayPal, anything else you're kind of feeling like just big game? Is Fields going to get over 300 or is that kind of getting a little hot? Like, what are you thinking that his stats are actually going to be?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say like if they're gonna stop him from running because that just we saw it last week. Even on a spy, Justin Fields was able to run for 178 yards. Um,
Yeah.
so it's just he's gonna have. I think he's gonna have 300 yards at least. Um, but it could be anything. It could be 250 passing yards with 50 rushing yards. This could be a heavier passing game. I think for me, it's just unknown because this Lions team, it seems like you can beat them from any angle. It's not just running, it's not just passing the ball. You can beat them anywhere. So And with how Justin's been playing, he's a weapon out there, and he's definitely elite. I would say he's elite status, and I'm not gonna be ashamed to say that.
I think Mac out here has got the best Bears prediction. Bears a lot, Lions a little.
Mm.
So I have quarter 4 up right now. Quarter 4, they actually don't really like the Bears as much as we do. They are giving the spread. They think that the spread should just be a half a point. So they do like the Lions a little bit more, even though that they still give the Bears a 52% chance of winning. Let's go over to this the premium features, our player effect. Let's go and add the Bears and the Lions. So we can then add this in, and let's check this out. So let's simulate. Drum roll, please.
No
Come
whammy,
on,
no
whammy,
whammy.
no whammy.
No.
I kind of want them to have the Lions win, just so that we can take higher. I can stack my lead. And they have.
Oh, they do.
The Lions winning. It's exactly what we want because we can rise higher in the ranks. They're only projecting 154 passing yards for Justin Fields. Like,
maybe they haven't updated their stats from like week 1. You know, maybe they still think Justin Fields is this bum, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I think that they just feel like, maybe he's not passing as much. I do know that they updated this as well. So maybe there's a bug in the updates, right?
Yeah,
Doesn't love the Bears as much. I mean, they still have Tonjes out there, but yet again, that just happened. So yeah, I honestly, I'm fine with it, right? You know what? Simulation, I'm going to take the lead. Or if me and the coin flip are going to take this lead, right? But yeah, it's going to be a fun game. I'm excited to see what ends up happening. I'm excited to see what goes on. So I'm pumped, but also just out in the comments, Donald saying the show is great. Thank you so much. How are we going to grow it faster? Tell some of your friends, everybody out there, tell some of your friends, rate 5 stars. It helps so much, and definitely appreciate all you watching, all you listening, whenever you're digesting this show. Thank you all so much for this. It means so much just to have people out there. It's cool that we actually had a sponsor, right? It's all awesome stuff. And it really does make us excited. But ladies and gents, I'm pumped about this game. PayPal, are you pumped about this game?
Oh, I'm so pumped. I think this is one of those games that we can have fun and enjoy a win. You know, most of the time I'm kind of just, all right, I'm fine if we lose. You know, you kind of go into it and you're like, yeah, we'll probably lose against this team, but it's the Lions. We'll have fun. It's home. We can hear the crowd just roaring. Claypool can have a day. We're talking about Brisker. We'll see if he's on these blitzes. Let's see if he's getting sacks. Sanborn.
Sanborn.
This could be his game kind of just coming back. Second game of the week. A lot of fun things that we can watch in this game. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to comment out there. It helps with the videos and everything. Rate 5 stars everywhere you get your podcast and Unbearable Sports Podcast. We're out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's